we're back with one of our legal experts, Ben Older, co-founding partner of Older Lundy, to talk about something that's very important but not widely discussed. We're talking about the Marchman Act, and of course, he's here with us. Thank you so much for being here with us today, Ben.
Good morning, my pleasure.
Of course, in this whole Marchman Act, we don't talk about it. We don't discuss it a lot. I know a lot of people do know about Baker Act, but what's the main difference here?
So the Marchman Act is a Florida statute that's designed to get help for individuals that have problems with substance abuse, addiction. It can be alcohol, it can be prescription drugs, it can be street drugs, anything that falls within the category of substance abuse.
And it has to be specifically for substance abuse, that somebody is perhaps, I don't want to say detained, but, you know, taken into custody. Is that how you would describe it?
Well, yes and no. So the Marchman Act is designed to get somebody help, right? So if a person, a family member, someone who knows the person very well, it could even be a boss or a best friend, a child, understands that the person has a substance abuse issue, they could look to the state of Florida to actually mandate that person go to treatment. And if the person doesn't go to treatment after they found that they need to go to treatment, they can actually be put in jail until they decide to go. So when you say mandated, it really is taken into custody the way you put it to a certain extent.
And I know you're the expert in these type of situations. Tell the viewers how important it is for perhaps them to use the Marchman Act if a family member is in need.
So most people that have, or many people that have substance abuse problems, don't recognize it. They don't want to go to treatment. They're scared. They don't want to admit it. And someone can take the reins and really help that person go to a treatment center, to a treatment facility for up to 90 days, where they really have an opportunity to get better. And that's what it's really about. And there is hope. There really is hope. Some people think that it doesn't help if someone's mandated to treatment. Actually, that's just not true.
Okay, I'm glad that you mentioned that. Yeah, that there is hope and there's, you know, solutions out there. And as mentioned at the beginning of the interview, the difference between that and the Baker Act, how can you describe that best for our viewers to understand?
So people get the two confused all the time. A Baker Act is something that is designed to help someone that is having an acute crisis with respect to psychological issues. The Marchman Act is specifically designed for people with substance abuse issues. So it's really more of a long-term solution, where the Baker Act, and this isn't my area, but generally the Baker Act is something where people are held for a few days until they're no longer a harm to themselves or others.
Excellent. And I know that you mentioned that even children can call or, you know, reach out to anybody to help their family member or anybody that's going through a specific crisis at the moment. Is that the best bet? Would they call, for example, 911 or somebody like you to help them out?
So the Marchman Act doesn't work that way.
Okay.
The way it works is somebody who's concerned actually files a petition with the court, and based on that petition, the judge can order them to be assessed to see if in fact they need treatment. And then if the assessor says yes, then there's a separate hearing where the judge actually asks, do you want to go to treatment willingly? And if that person says no, then they're given a few days to prepare for an evidentiary hearing, and they're actually assigned a lawyer by the state, sort of the state's version in this situation of a public defender. And then there's an actual hearing, and the judge hears the evidence, and if the judge believes that, in fact, that person does need to go to treatment, then they're mandated to go to treatment.
It sounds like it's a process filled with compassion along the way, right? Is that something you would describe it for people?
There's no question. This is not a punishment. This is not a criminal court. This is a situation where the state of Florida, through judges, really wants people to get help, to come out and be better. You know, they haven't necessarily committed a crime. Typically, they haven't. They're just given an opportunity for help and for treatment. And, you know, what I want to say is it works. It really does work. Even if people have been to treatment before, or if it's years, it doesn't matter if they're underage or if they're 18 or if they're 70 years old, there's always hope, and there's always the opportunity to get hope through the Marchman Act and through the state of Florida.
Thank you so much for all the information and for, letting us know the difference between those two, and all the information on screen, 813-254-8998. Thank you again for being with us today.
It's my pleasure.